The 80s got us digitized, downsized, and on the go. When we had so many toys, we needed a cool car to transport them all. And in 1981, a visionary vehicle showed us a portal to the future. The DeLorean DMC 12 is still one of the coolest high-tech looking cars on the road. And it hasn't been manufactured since 1983.
This is an exceptional car. It's a very sleek, sexy-looking automobile. It performs well. When you drive it, you get looks from people that you don't get from any other car. I don't know how many times I've had people with cell phones take pictures of this car.
The DeLorean was unlike any other car on the market in the 80s. The oil crisis of the 70s prompted many automakers to start building smaller, fuel-efficient econo-boxes that some believed left style at the curb. But the DeLorean was first class all the way. The brainchild of noted auto designer John DeLorean, the DMC-12 was developed for the U.S. market. But for financial reasons, it was produced in Northern Ireland.
The project was funded by a series of small investors, people like Johnny Carson, Sammy Davis Jr., some of John's friends. The big money came from the actual British government to the tune of about $150 million. By building the car in Belfast, Northern Ireland, they had hoped to give people jobs, or unemployment was at the rate of about 30–40%. And with all the sectarian problems in Northern Ireland about that time, people had jobs, and they're less likely to be causing trouble in the streets.
When the car hit showrooms in 1981, shoppers were amazed.
Initial sales were fantastic. Cars were flying off the dealership lots because everybody wanted to be the first on their block. And then it wasn't unusual to see them selling for as much as $10,000 over sticker.
The car's space-age design and virtual celebrity status ensured that it lived up to its slogan.
One of the taglines in all the advertising for the DeLorean was "Live the Dream." And to a lot of people, that's what John DeLorean himself was doing. He was a self-made man, married a supermodel, now had his own car company. The whole idea was to live this dream.
But the dream was short-lived. The company hit hard times in 1982.
Can't have any conversation about the DeLorean without talking about some of the controversy. The car was underpowered. The car was overpriced. Some people didn't like the styling.
Mirroring its maker, the DeLorean had a flashy exterior, but people questioned what was underneath.
Cars weren't selling. Interest rates were very high for cars, things like that. And John DeLorean needed money. He was persuaded by one of his neighbors to get involved in a financial deal that he later found out involved the importation and trafficking of cocaine. As most people now know, this was a sting operation. John DeLorean was arrested in October of 1982, finally went to trial in 1984 where he was acquitted on all charges.
I never, ever believed I could be brought into a situation like this.
Of course, when you're arrested, it's on page 1. When you're found not guilty later on, it's on page 6. I still have people to this day say, is John DeLorean still in jail? Not realizing that he never did any time.
£2,000, a 2,000 bit 2,250, 250, 25 at
His company went under in 1983.
sold at 6,250.
But just because they no longer mass-produce DeLoreans doesn't mean you can't get one that's brand new-ish. The DeLorean Motor Company in Houston, Texas, can build you one of these heavy metal babies out of never-been-used components.
A completely remanufactured car is one that we'll strip completely to a bare frame, and then we'll rebuild using all brand new parts. So essentially you're getting a brand new 25-year-old car.
These unused parts, engines, transmissions, exterior panels, and all, were sent here from the factory when production halted in 1983. They also refurbish used DeLoreans to their original luster.
It's not unusual for a car to come to us in just completely run-down, worn-out condition, and for us to turn it into a car like this one here. We'll refresh the interiors, we'll rebuild drivetrains, we'll do body work, whatever it takes to make the car look as good as it did back in 1981.
And the price tag?
A good rule of thumb is it takes $25,000 to have a good running, reliable, daily driver, nice-looking DeLorean. Doesn't matter if you buy one for $15 and you put $10 in it, or you buy one for $25 that's already finished. A good pre-owned car is therefore going to run somewhere in the mid-20s.
But if you want one made with the new parts, prepare to pay somewhere in the low 40s. Even stripped down, the DeLorean doesn't look like most other cars.
Here we have one of the DeLorean chassis in its bare form. In the front, very well protected from a front or from a side impact, we have the fuel cell, which because it's so well protected, it really plays into the safety theme that John DeLorean was known for. The chassis is kind of unique in that it's a mild steel coated with epoxy, and that's to keep it from rusting.
Under the hood is a rear-mounted 2.8-liter Peugeot-Renault all-aluminum engine. Today, there's also an optional performance package upgrade, which includes a new exhaust system, headers, dual catalytic converters, and a new muffler. And when you put pedal to the metal,
the Bosch K-Jetronic mechanical fuel injection is what actually meters the flow of fuel from the fuel tank into the combustion chamber through the fuel injectors. A lot of the cars from the late 70s, early 80s all had carburetors. This is one of the earliest cars to use a form of fuel injection.
on top of the chassis sits the fiberglass underbody, onto which the stainless steel panels are attached.
Unlike most cars where you have body panels welded to the car, on a DeLorean, all the panels bolt on. So it's real simple to do any kind of panel replacement. You can bolt the panels on and you can bolt the panels off, and you're ready to go.
It's safe to say you won't see too many other stainless steel cars on the road, because this metal is about 5 times more expensive than the more common mild steel used for most cars. Once you're done admiring the unusual exterior, grab a door handle and flip her open.
One of the unique things about the DeLorean is obviously the gull-wing doors, which open upward. They need 14 inches of clearance, which is less than a regular automobile. They're operated by a torsion bar, which sits inside here. It's made out of stainless steel. It's dipped in 350 degrees below zero liquid nitrogen and counter-turned 10 times each way. And then it is taken out, which makes it actually become a spring. Then it is put back in the car. This device here is a rod that allows the door from opening either too fast and gives it support when you close it.
The DeLorean was truly unique for its time, from concept and design to the controversial circumstances surrounding its creator. John DeLorean died after suffering a stroke in March 2005, reportedly while sketching designs for a new car. But his legacy lives on. This 80s funmobile is still a timeless hot seller. The DeLorean was originally called the DMC 12 because it was supposed to retail for $12,000. However, inflation and higher than expected production costs led to an eventual price of $25,000 and the new name.